2007 was a stacked year for video games. It was the year that saw the release of classics such as Assassin's Creed, BioShock, Call of Duty 4, Mass Effect, God of War 2, The Witcher, and of course, the B-movie game. A certified hood classic if I do say so myself. But also amongst those releases was a little game called Uncharted Drake's Fortune. And let me tell you something, this game right here,
I mean, it's alright,
like the start of many great franchises, Uncharted didn't really find its footing until its second entry, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, which up until the release of Uncharted 4 Thief's End was pretty much universally regarded as the best Uncharted game, hands down. Among Thieves built upon Drake's Fortune in almost every conceivable way. It's funnier, sharper, wittier, the characters and their relationships are way more fleshed out, the villain is way more formidable, the stakes are higher. The game features more locations and set pieces. I mean, Uncharted 2 is full of some of the most iconic moments in not just its series, but in gaming. When people think about Uncharted, they think about Nathan Drake scaling that derailed train with a gunshot wound, or he and Chloe running along Nepal's rooftops while avoiding gunfire from a helicopter. Uncharted 2 is the definitive third-person action-adventure experience. But what if I told you I like the third one better? Playing Uncharted 2 is like sipping a fine wine at a fancy dinner party, while playing Uncharted 3 is more like cracking open a cold one with the boys after a long day. Both are good, but one is considered better than the other depending on who you ask. And I'll say this, I'm not really much of a wine drinker. Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception opens up with Nathan and Sully getting into a fight at a London pub after a deal gone sour, a set piece that establishes what kind of experience this is going to be. It's a game that leans heavily into being the summer blockbuster action flick that the Uncharted games tend to replicate.
I thought this kind of thing only happened in the movies.
And I truly believe anyone who chalks these games up to just being quote-unquote playable movies because of how cinematic they are have it completely twisted. Games can be presented in a cinematic fashion for various reasons, but very seldom is the reason because they're trying to be something that they're not. Until Dawn sets itself up as a generic Hollywood slasher flick, but uses the interactivity that the medium allows to flip those tropes on their head and create something that's mostly unique. This perfectly describes what Uncharted does for its genre. A globe-trotting treasure hunting adventure is far from novel, but partaking in the adventure as opposed to simply observing it truly does make all the difference. The reason why properties like Until Dawn and Uncharted don't adapt well to film is because you're forced to strip it of almost all the things that gave it integrity in the first place. Something that Hollywood still doesn't seem to understand, but that's a whole video in and of itself. I guess what I'm trying to say with this is if Uncharted is defined by its elaborate action, scope, and overall sense of adventure, then Drake's Deception is Uncharted firing on all cylinders. And look, I recognize that this game is flawed. I'm not completely blinded by my love for it. Marlowe is an incredibly boring villain. Talbot has weird supernatural abilities that are never explained. There are a number of contrivances in order to have characters where they need to be for the sake of action or plot. Shooting feels sluggish and unresponsive, enemies are straight bullet sponges, and whatever the hell this is.
No, I won't go.
Don't resist.
Where is this?
You're with us.
Yeah, that stuff isn't good, and I'm not going to pretend that it is just for the sake of argument. But what I am going to do is highlight the things that Uncharted 3 does well, and how those things work to elevate the overall experience. But this is all very broad, so let's dive a little deeper. One of the main things present in any great game is, well, fun gameplay. I mean, that's literally the element that sets the medium apart from all the others, so if it's not good, then what the fuck? But luckily that's not a problem for Uncharted 3. I know I just talked about the janky shooting mechanics and SpongeBob-ass enemies you have to deal with, but let's be real. It's not like combat was ever one of Uncharted's strong suits anyway. At least in this game you can toss back grenades. 10 out of 10, IGN. Even though shooting is mostly standard for an Uncharted game, Drake's Deception puts a much heavier emphasis on hand-to-hand combat than its predecessors and even the games that followed. While some might find these encounters to be repetitive and uninspired, I actually really like them, as they serve as nice stand-ins for what would normally be a shooting arena, and if you've played Uncharted, you know that those can get pretty exhausting real quick. In fact, Uncharted 3 to me is the entry that has the least amount of fluff, like those monotonous climbing sections that you kind of dread getting to because of how stale they become after a while. You know the ones I'm talking about? When I come to these sections, I find myself just going through the motions rather than engaging in what's happening. But in Uncharted 3, even when things slow down, it doesn't feel like a grinding halt. The climbing sections don't overstay their welcome, and the puzzles actually provide fun challenges for the player to overcome. One of the only real issues I have with Uncharted 4 is that the puzzles were made way too easy. Like, what the hell happened? I truly don't think Drake's Deception receives enough credit for how fun the overall gameplay experience is. And we haven't even talked about the set pieces yet. I feel like this is the area of the game that needs the least amount of defending. Despite Uncharted 2 having more iconic moments, I'm sure most fans can agree that Uncharted 3 has the most high-octane action sequences the series has seen. I mean, this stuff speaks for itself.
Oh, thank God.
Something I love about the action in Uncharted 3 is how a lot of it calls back to previous games in a way that feels earnest and like a natural progression of things. The Lost Legacy is similar in some ways, but banks more on nostalgia than Uncharted 3 does. And that's no slight towards The Lost Legacy. I think it's also up there as one of the best Uncharted games, but that's a video for another time. My point is that Uncharted 3's action presents itself as an amalgam of what's come before, and it absolutely slays in doing so. Did I use that word in the proper context? One of the main elements that drive Uncharted aside from the action is its characters. Over the years, people fell in love with Nathan, Sully, Elena, Chloe, and even Cutter, who's only in one game. It's clear that A Thief's End and The Lost Legacy took their narratives way more seriously than the previous entries. They were still fun and lighthearted adventures, but they didn't rely as much on those action movie tropes and actually tried to tell more rich and nuanced stories with these characters. But I would say Uncharted 3 was the series' first foray into actual decent storytelling. Drake's Fortune has a simple premise. It's not a very deep game at all. Similarly, Among Thieves, though broader in scope, doesn't really have much to say. Uncharted 3, however, does. Kind of. It's the first game that explores Nathan's past, peeking beneath the rugged treasure hunting bravado to better understand how he got to where he is and connect with him on a level beyond just thinking he's cool. I also really love Nathan and Sully's friendship being such a central focus of this game's story. It's something that was always present, but they do such a good job of making Nathan and Sully feel closer than ever here, creating genuine concern that Nate's never-ending determination to find the treasure will end up getting his best friend killed.
I see you're still wearing yours.
What? Oh, yeah.
That's what this is all about, isn't it?
You don't understand. I finally proved it. Drake lied about his route through the East Indies. 400 years ago, he came here.
Why, Nate?
That's what we're here to find out.
No, I mean, why this obsession? I'm just worried.
I can take care of myself, all right?
I'm not talking about you.
What, Sully?
He would go to the ends of the earth for you, Nate. Just don't ask him to.
Come on, that's not fair. What is that even supposed to mean?
This is another angle that I really like. Although truth be told, it's not one that always worked for me, considering in previous games Nate was always the one who wanted out and it was everyone around him who pushed him to keep going for various reasons. But in Uncharted 3, Nate wants to keep going while everyone around him is telling him to let this one go. On the surface it does come across as some sort of weird backwards character arc, but the reason it works here is because of how far back this particular mystery goes for Nathan. It's personal for him, which is also why Sully supports him the way that he does this time as opposed to dipping out early like he did during the search for Shambhala. Even with how much fun the inclusion of Chloe and Cutter as part of your ragtag group early on was, I still think focusing in on the relationship between these two OG characters works very well in raising the stakes and making these sleazebags feel a bit more human. I also like what they did with Elena here too. In comparison to the first two games, she plays a considerably smaller role in this one, but it's still impactful nonetheless. It's heavily implied that Nate and Elena got married sometime after the events of Among Thieves, but later separated for some reason. It's never explicitly stated, but we can infer that it probably had something to do with Nathan's fortune hunter lifestyle not being able to keep him grounded enough for Elena's liking. And you wouldn't think it with where this game picks up. I'm sure most of us just thought the two of them had another off-screen breakup between games and Nathan was just out here doing his usual thing. But the fact that this man is married and not even seemingly fighting for his marriage really goes to show how much this life has a hold on him. And I'm not trying to defend Nathan here, but a stable life is something that he hadn't known for a very long time. So him being able to seamlessly transition from a life of thievery to a life of normalcy just probably wasn't going to happen. This is further contextualized in Uncharted 4, where we can clearly see that Nathan isn't fulfilled during the early chapters, and it's not until Elena's compromise in the end that it seems like he can truly be happy. It's not something he can do just because he decided he wants to, he has to work at it, which takes at least some level of self-awareness and introspection. And even though it appears as though Nathan doesn't care, he truly does, and it makes his decision in the end all the more meaningful.
Hey, hold up a minute, Nate.
You okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I just got something needs saying, that's all.
All right. What is it?
Look, I had a lousy father, a lousy childhood. I hit 40, I figured I was never gonna have a son of my own. Hell, I never wanted one. What the hell do I know about raising a kid? Then you came barreling into my life.
Look, you don't have to.
No, listen, I do. I have made a lot of mistakes, kid. A lot. And, well, I am not a perfect man.
You're not proposing, are you, Sully? I mean, I love you, but...
Stop. Just stop being a wise ass for 1 second.
How long you been carrying that around?
Too long.
Thought I'd lost it.
Here's the thing, kid. We don't get to choose how we start in this life. Real greatness, it's what you do with the hand you dealt.
Hey,
Hey. Going somewhere?
maybe? I'm really sorry about your ring.
Yeah. It's all right. I swapped it for something better. Let's get out of here, huh?
Yeah.
Come on, we're this way.
But
Come on. Trust me.
what are you up to? No way.
It's not as nice as the one you two wrecked 4 years ago, but it'll do. Come on. Let's see if I can remember how to fly the goddamn thing.
Hey, this has parachutes, right?
Oh, yeah. 3. More or less.
Every time I finish my annual binge of the original 3 Uncharted games and I watch this final cutscene, I can't help but get a little misty-eyed. And to be honest with you, I'm not quite sure why. It's not like it's the last Uncharted game, but it is in a way the end of an era. Not just due to series creator Amy Hennig's departure from the studio in 2014, but also because Naughty Dog in general hasn't felt the same since. And as much as I love what's come after, I can't help but feel like they just don't make them like this anymore. Look, I know Uncharted 3 isn't great. Hell, some might not even go as far as to say it's good. And if that's how you feel, I didn't make this video to change your mind. This was more so a way for me to try and express why it is I vibe with this game so heavily and why it just clicks for me despite so many people citing it as one of the worst Uncharted games next to Drake's Fortune. It's not about being a contrarian, it's about showing love to a game that I feel is drastically underappreciated. Maybe one day more people will see this game the way that I do. But until then, thanks for watching.